So I got back home yesterday from my trip to Tenerife. It was absolutely amazing. There was a few days where it was raining and then there was some sun on other days, but that's all the time with the Canaries. It's weather dependent and anything can happen. So I will talk more about the flight in a bit, but I'm just going to go through what I've missed because I didn't do much speaking in my vlog, so I apologise for that. So yeah, on the first night, as I said, I went to Tasca Don Pepe for some food. I didn't mention briefly what I had, I think. So I had like some spicy fried potatoes, padron peppers, some mussels marinara, mixed sausage platter, and then there was some garlic bread, but the garlic bread in Spain is not like the one you would get in the UK. They do it differently, so I wouldn't really recommend the garlic bread. On the second day, it was raining. As I said, it was cloudy, got a bit of sun, and there was a bleachy smell in the morning. They were cleaning a lot of the rooms. On the buses, there was like USB charging. You could fill up your water using a water machine in the reception. The buses, some of them are different, but most of the ones that we went on, that wasn't an airport bus. It was €2.10 for a single, and you could go wherever you go. Some stops do take a while because if it's not like a big, like where we were staying, it wasn't a very big bus stop, or like not many buses were going through, so we were like, if you miss one, you might be waiting for a while. One bus driver looked like he had an iron on him. His face was like an iron mark on him. Did a walk to the beach, but couldn't go like further down on the beach due to a red flag. But then where we were, the beach looked a bit black, the sand, due to volcano, I guess, ages ago. But then maybe there's some other parts which have been done up more, and so the beaches look a bit better. We did book a tour for our third day, which I'll talk about in a bit. We went to Rumpot it was supposed to be for a quiz, but they did bingo on sheets and this thing called sticky bingo as well. So basically you have a deck of 13 cards, and they would read out a card. If you got the card, you turn it over. When you got to 3 cards, you had to say damp. When you got to 2 cards, you say moist. 1 card sticky, and then when you got them all, you could say anything you want. So they did the 4 bingos and 2 sticky bingos. That was in San Eugenio. I would recommend that place. Very English bars around there, a lot of Irish bars as well. There was a shopping area as well in there. They had €2 pints of Dorada, 9 AM till 7 PM, and then 7 PM till close. It was like €3 for the pint. 5 bottles for like €16 of like beer. Cocktails were 2 for 11, 9 AM till 7 PM. One beach was better in San Eugenio, but it was still rough at the seas. We had some ice cream. There was a lot of like sellers on the streets, and then of course sometimes you'd get sellers come in restaurants, which I'm like, I'm just trying to eat my food. Some places, if they were showing matches, they couldn't play commentary due to like some laws. Maybe they could only play 1 match of commentary. I guess, I don't know if it's to do with the neighbours or the neighbourhood. You got to keep the noise down. There was like a Pringles machine in the pub. They couldn't say how much the prize was in the bingo due to some Canary laws, because there's technically no gambling allowed. So he had to say you're playing for however many bars of chocolate, for example. So yeah, it was interesting that. Had some takeaway pizza later that night from La Divina Comida. They don't do pasta, they pizza and burgers they did as well, I think. There was some supermarkets, Hyper Dino Express and Super Diplo. There was like 2 near us, so they're like the big ones on the island. On the third day, as I said, booked a tour. We went to Mount Teide, or Teide, I don't know how you pronounce it, but it's Teide. The highest building as well, we saw, it was like 1,500 meters above sea level. I can't remember the name of it. We went to this dragon fruit tree called Drago Millenaro, or Milenario. I can't pronounce it, but it's Milenario. That's one of many. There is others, I think, on the island. But if you know how to pronounce that, just give me a pronunciation, because I can't pronounce that, sorry. Then we went to Garachico for some food. It was like an area, and I had some seafood soup. Well, there was the seafood soup, sorry, but we didn't have that. We had some seafood paella. There was bread included. If it was like a set menu, if you got the seafood soup, you had bread included, wine, that was €15. But the paella, I think, was like 25. Then we went to Masca. It was a small town. There's only 99 people live there. There's 20 houses and 4 restaurants. Then we went to the Tenno Mountains, and this tour was called the Big Four. So they're like the Big Four areas that people tend to visit. So you got picked up by a bus. That was at 7:45. Got dropped for around 5:30, maybe even later. It was very cold in the morning and dark still. We had to wait a while for like 30 minutes at one stop, and then some of us we were waiting a while because he told them one time, but they were early. Why didn't you tell them you were early, and then you could have got on? But anyway, it did go sunny really quickly, and then it went raining, so it was hit and miss really. There was lots of pickups. The driver was swaying a lot, but that was due to all the narrow roads, you know, when going up to the mountain. And of course the guide was speaking Spanish too, as well as English. It said no overtaking sometimes at some point, but then I saw the bus doing that, going up the mountain. The population, I think the woman said, was about 93.65k people, and there's about 840 cars on the island, or 840,000, sorry, 840,000 cars. Yeah, I was going to say it. 84,000 isn't a lot. There was a museum near the mountain. It was windy and cold up there, of course. Did see a rainbow at one point, and then it was raining again heavy, and then it was very foggy. As I mentioned about the food, the seafood paella, it was at La Almena de San Miguel. There's no drinks menu there, but like we just saw I got a beer. The water, if you got like water, it was in a bottle, which was a bit disappointing. Rather than it being in a jug, it was in a bottle. You wouldn't really have that at a restaurant really. Lunch was not included though, so we had to pay for it ourselves. I think the national park, Mount Tidy has been a national park since 1954, and it's a UNESCO heritage site. There are about 350 volcanoes on Tenerife Island, and we saw this 45-metre pine tree, which is about 700, 800 years old. There's been a few films that have been done here, like Planet of the Apes, the old one, Rambo 5, Clash of the Titans, probably the old one. You got a penalty as well if you didn't use the pedestrian crossing in the national park. Like, you had to use the designated pedestrian crossings. Of course, you couldn't take any rocks or plants. I think if you took a rock, you got at least €100 fine, and depending on the size, depends on the fine. Plants was at least 300. Of course, you can't take animals, you can't kill animals, and you couldn't give food to the animals. The only animals you could feed were the dogs. And of course, you couldn't fly in a drone. That was at least €2,000 fine. There was about 168 different plants in the national park, 20 different kinds of birds, 4 million visitors every year. I don't know if it's to Tenerife or the mountain itself. The last eruption, I think they said, was 1909, and it lasted 10 days. And they have little microphones in the soil to detect when an eruption might happen. A Spanish swimmer called David Mecca, someone said, swam from Tenerife to La Gomera. He's also done other ones to Ibiza or something. I think he's like 40 something. There was a donkey farm we saw. In the evening we went to Steak 21 for some Chateaubriand, as well as rosemary potatoes, seasonal grilled vegetables, and a Sauvignon Blanc wine. Went to Nebula for some drinks. I had a tequila sunrise. So that was the third day. On the fourth day, it was a relaxing day. Went to the infinity pool and the balcony on the 6th floor. Said it was heated, but it wasn't. Likewise with the downstairs pool that we went into. Fake grass was pretty good, but if there was if it was sunny, it could get really hot when walking on it. There was some day beds, which was like €20 for the day. Swinging chairs upstairs, there was 2 of them. There was a La Cumera rooftop, it was called. Then for the evening, went to restaurant Casa Maria for some seafood spaghetti, but they spelt it wrong. They said seed food, SEAD food, so they put seed food spaghetti instead of seafood. And then got some drink at the end, had some beer. Then watched Man United and Rangers at the Three Horseshoes, which was near us. There was also a quiz on it as well, and they did actually do the quiz. We came third out of like 12 people, and then they did Sticky Bingo again, and the prize was like €200 or 200 bars of chocolate. But she didn't say that, she just said €200. So I was like, maybe if it's on a very busy road, they can't say it, but if it's very quiet, they can. I don't know. But most of the Dorada glasses, if you had Dorada, they give you a glass and it has like a red soul on the bottom, which is interesting. I don't know why. On the 5th day, I went to Siam Park, voted the best water park in Europe. That was €42 for one adult. Kids under a certain age go free, and then children, it's like 30 something. So it was €10 for locker. That was open 10 a.m. till 5 p.m. the park. They did have a machine where you put cash in and then it automatically takes it. They don't touch the cash, which, I mean, it's a bit, technology and all, but I don't know. The fries weren't very warm, the food. You do get a picture at the end, because they take a picture at the start and then you can choose whether you want to have the picture at the end. There was a Sea Lion Island, a floating market, Mai Tai River, where the lazy lagoon was. There's a Siam Beach and wave machine. Lost City, but that was closed. They were doing some work on that. I'm not sure if that would have been for kids or not, because they had different levels of difficulty. They had green, which was, for kids, medium, which was over a certain age, and then there was like red, which was like you have to be like over 12 at least and a certain height for some of them. So if you are going, I'd recommend maybe if with family, make sure your kids are a certain height, because they might not be let on some of the rides. There was this racing one, NAGA Racer. You had like 6 slides, long multiple slides going down, and you like do like a skeleton position where you got to go down, and then there's like loads of bumps. That was good. Jungle Snakes, Volcano, and there was like this dark bowl that you go round. The Dragon, Tower of Power. I did it. I was like so proud I did it. You have loads of people. It's one at a time. You have this big drop. You cross your arms, cross your legs, and it literally goes woo, and then you go through a tunnel, and then you come out the other. Like, it hurts your bottom as well. It's worth it though. You are waiting for a while, but it is worth it. Totally worth it. Then there was this the giant that had 2 bowls. I can't pronounce it. Sour CD, I think it's called. This was basically slides for kids. There was the Mekong Rapids. You had loads of jets. The Pantong Rapids. Singer. There was a lot of turns in that. Kinari, Safa. Most of them were like going like round. They were so fun. Bodhi Trail is basically a water fountain, and then there was Cocoa Beach. That was a relaxing one. Then after that, went to Siam Mall. They had different shops, so they had like Pull and Bear, Lefties, which was a closed store, Starbucks, Burger King. They have BP petrol, which is surprising. JD, Tessanese, they do clothes. Pizza Mythos, waffles. I can't remember the name of it, but there was a place that did waffles. Lacoste, RKS, they did shoes. Encuentro, they did clothes. Zara, Springfield, they do clothes. Base Selection, they did clothes. There were a lot of clothes stores. Mayo, Ral, baby stuff, that was. Vans, Dreamland, they did toys. Nazari, they did shoes. Martini, that was a restaurant. Cuba, they did like shoes, hats and bags. Hackett London, they do clothes. Madame was a hairdressing place. Havavanas, sorry if I'm not pronounced that right, but they famous for their flip-flops. Lou's Food Republic, Tony Romo's, they do ribs, seafood and steaks. Mini Good, they do mugs and other souvenirs. Napolite, they did pizza, coffee, other stuff. Mango and H&M, there was a big chessboard, an interactive touchscreen. You could rent like a little car for the kids and all, and like going around. There was a bottom floor too as well, so there was much more. I didn't go in the bottom floor, I went on the top floor though. Had some Indian at masala, had chicken do piazza, poppadoms and chicken samosa. Eden for some drinks. There was a swinging reception, also some books that you could read as well. And then the final day, as I said, back home, checkout was at 12 in the afternoon. Flight was at, supposed to be 7:30, arriving at 11:55. For the last day, relaxed by the rooftop pool after checking out. Went to Nebula for some focaccia, but it was more like pizza bread, and I don't know if it was very done properly. The area that we stayed in was Cayo Savalle, so Callao and Salvaje. Most of the buses did have seatbelts, but not many people were wearing them. As I said, there was chess and other games that you could play in reception. There was Netflix on your TV. The water kept leaking from the shower onto the floor, so it was a pain to clean up every time. There was a schedule for buses. Sometimes it arrived earlier than expected though. There was a video on the bus, but it was like on a loop. It was repeating all sorts of stuff, but they should have showed some like football or channel instead of just showing the same thing. There was a WH Smith in the airport as well, I saw, and so many seats in the airport. Took ages to board though. I was sat in 14A, reasonably full, and the music sounded different when I got on the plane to when I first arrived. It sounded different. 4 hours and 30 minutes was the flight time instead of 4 hours and 25 minutes. Took off at 7:54, landed about 20 past midnight. I did see someone vaping in the airport. Like, I saw some smoke. I was like, why is no one doing nothing about it? And then someone was drinking their own alcohol during the when they were walking to the airplane. So yeah, some of the petrol stations, as I mentioned, there's a BP. They have an Esso, Repsol, which is probably a Spanish one. There was Disa, probably another Spanish one, and Shell as well. But yeah, sorry this was a long part. I know I should have probably talked about it in the other videos, but I've got it all done now. That is all for this video. The next video, I still need to do my anniversary video. I've been catching up on Love Island. I've done the review, I just need to do the videos. I might be going Gibraltar on the 1st of Feb. It's still undecided, but if I do, I'll be doing a vlog for that, and then of course Love Island will have to wait until I'm back maybe. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the videos. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.